Posting assignments in Google Classroom is not a whole lot different than posting announcements on the main stream, but you do get a few more options, like using topics to organize those assignments and adding due dates for when they need to be handed in. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like here in Google Classroom. When I first go up to the class work page, that's where I'm going to do all my assignment type stuff. I'm going to click on the Create button. Now, I have the option of creating a basic assignment where I can add text, I can add an attachment, due dates, all those things I mentioned, or I can create a quiz assignment. Now, what a quiz assignment does is essentially the same thing, but it also immediately and automatically creates for you a Google form that you can then launch and add all your questions to. So true, false, and checkbox questions, and all sorts of things that you can actually uh, toggle on. Well, it's automatically toggled on as a quiz, which means it automatically means that there are point values you can assign to those questions, and it can be marked and graded immediately for the students as soon as they finish. Now, those marks can also get pulled right into Google Classroom once the kids are finished. So that's a handy option. Now, question is a much simpler option that you get, and it's all part of Google Classroom. It doesn't launch out to the other apps like Google Forms. Google Questions here are just allowing you to ask questions of your students right there within Classroom. I can post material as well if it's sort of resources and things and not so much stuff that students actually need to return to me in any way. And just like announcements on the mainstream, I can reuse a post. So if I've done this assignment, say last September or last Christmas, and I'm going to reuse the same kind of thing with another class, I can go ahead and click on Reuse Post and find that old assignment in one of my previous and archived classrooms. And of course, I can create new topics here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and just make an assignment to start with. I can give that a title like, well, I have one that I use a lot. I call it a mock assignment because it's not real, of course. And the instructions are to open the doc, look at the photo that is in the document, and tell me who is winning this match, which will make sense in a moment. So I can, of course, use bold and italics and underline. I can switch to bullets if I wanted to, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and attach a file. And I'm just going to type mock because I know it'll come up pretty quick. Oh, nope, not that. I do hate when it immediately jumps to stuff while I'm trying to do searches, just because it popped up something. Mock assignment. There we go. Where's that document? That's the one. All right, insert that. You can tell I've used this a lot of times before. But anyway, it's a document that I can then click on. If I need to make sure or I need to check it or do anything to it, I can click that attached file and see what pops up. So in this case, it's a photo from a competition, and I'm just asking the question, who's winning? And students are able to type right there who they think is currently winning this match. So depending on what they know, they might say the person on the top or the person on the bottom. Hot tip, it's the person on the bottom. Anyway, I have the option here of saying students can just view the file. So that's good for instructions and things. If this was just like a larger rubric or outline or something, um, and then I could go ahead and attach more documents if there was in fact like a handout or something I wanted them to fill in. Now in this case, I want them to answer right on the document. So instead of students can view the file, I'm not going to go with students can edit the file. That's going to give all the students the option to edit the same document. So if I want to do something collaborative, then I could choose that. But in this case, I want to make a copy for each student. That's my digital photocopier if these are handouts. This is now going to create a copy of that document for every single kid. That's what I want here because I want them all to work on it and then hand it in individually. Now I could choose to assign the same thing to a bunch of different classrooms. So if I've got, say, 2 different grade 4 classrooms and they're all going to do the same work, I could go ahead and check off those other classrooms and everybody gets the same assignment. Conversely, if I want to go into this classroom and I had a big long list of students in here, I could actually limit it to just 1 or 2 kids. So if this was, say, a modified version of the assignment, I could give them the modified version. And then when I come back and I create another assignment with the full version, I would go to students and I would just uncheck those 2 modified kids and give it to everybody else. Don't have to change the names or do anything else. The assignment could look the same pretty much to everybody, except they won't realize that those other kids are getting an altered version. Now I can choose the points here, or I can leave it ungraded. I could decide this is just out of 10 if I wanted to. I can give it a due date, so I click on that, and right where it says no due date, I get a little calendar I can work with. So maybe I'm going to have this due on Friday. Done. And for topics, if I don't have something in here already, then I can create a topic. So I'm just going to go with phys ed as my topic right now. I can click here and add a rubric. I can create them from scratch. I can reuse them, and if I've um, got something set up in Sheets that is specific to this and works with this, I can import from Sheets as well. We'll do a separate video on the rubrics themselves, but if I just hit create to give you a quick look at it, it allows me essentially to create these different rubrics. I can give it a name right there for that particular criteria, decide what it's worth, give it some level options, and then add more and more criteria. So if I'm thinking of sort of knowledge and understanding, I could do that as the first criteria, and then the next one could be another category and another category. So depending on what kinds of categories I want to use on my rubric, that's an option. I'm going to discard for now, because again, that's its own video, and I'll be able to go ahead and fill out that rubric, fully flesh that out, and then reuse that again and again. So if it's sort of a literacy type rubric that I'm going to use for multiple different assignments, I actually can reuse that rubric from a previous assignment. But with these other options all set up, I'll leave it just as it is for right now, and I'll go ahead and click either assign, if I'm ready to just put it out there for them, or click the arrow, and my other options are going to be schedule and save draft. Or, of course, discard the draft if I just decided I didn't want this at all. But maybe I'll schedule this. Today's Friday. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it for Monday at, I could do 9. Maybe this is an afternoon class. I'm going to say 1 o'clock. Oop, not AM. PM. There we go. Schedule. And now it lets me know down the corner here it's been scheduled for, oh, I'm in the way, aren't I? Here. There we go, get myself out of the way, and of course the message disappears. But down the bottom corner here, it was just letting me know that it was in fact scheduled for that particular date. So no big deal there. I can look at my list here and I'll see right there that it is also scheduled. So I'm seeing it grayed out because of course it's not actually posted yet. I get to see this as a teacher sitting there, but as a student, I'm not going to see any of that. If I come in as a student here, this is my student account, and I go to the classwork page, that assignment is not there yet. Bring that down. So as of Monday morning, under classwork, that mock assignment will get posted and that phys ed topic will be sitting there for them. So nice, easy way to go ahead and post those assignments. If I wanted to create the quiz assignment option, I can do that. And this is the blank quiz that it spins up for me really quickly. So maybe this is going to be like a, I don't know, spring quiz. I'm not sure what that would be, but let's take a look. I'll click on quiz. It pops up with blank quiz. I'm going to go ahead and call it the spring quiz, and I'll rename it again. And I can ask a bunch of different types of questions in here. So I could make it an easy one here, like what is your favorite season? Tab, 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 and I'm going to go with summer, fall, winter, and of course spring. So there's one question, and because I launched it from Classroom and it already knows this is going to be a quiz, it's not just a regular form collecting data, I have the option right down here to go to the answer key and decide this is worth 1 point and the correct answer is going to be spring because it's the spring quiz. And I'll say done. With that taken care of, I could go ahead and create another question. I could add, import questions that I've used before. I can throw in some text, some pictures, a video maybe. I'll give it one more question just to finish out what we're doing. Maybe I'm going to say something like, does it snow in spring? And I will make that Multiple choice, yep. Not checkbox, because that would allow them to try more than one option. So actually, I'm just going to leave it right at multiple choice. But I could go with drop down if there was a really long list of options. This one's true or false. So I won't bother with a long list. Linear scale is a good one if I'm asking you to rate something, sort of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. You can do a bunch of those questions. And then these grid questions allow you to basically ask a whole series of questions that have similar responses. In terms of spring, does it snow? I'm going to go with add all. Yes, no, and maybe. Now, as a teacher, I'm going to go to the answer key and say, you know what? You get a point for that one. If you say no, sorry, does it no and maybe. There we go. Either one of those is going to be worth a point. Done. Now, one other thing that I can do with any of these questions, since we're touching on quizzes here, when I go to that answer key, I also get the option here for answer feedback. So if I click that, and they give me the incorrect answer, I can type in here any kind of feedback that I want them to see. I can also add links or videos, so I could give them a link to maybe an article about the weather or about spring or about how the seasons change or whatever's relevant in this case. And I can also give feedback for correct answers, so I can type in, great, depending on how they answer, and they'll get that feedback afterwards. Once it's graded, they'll see what's going on. So just 2 questions right now. I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to close the tab completely. It's already attached here. And I also get the choice here of using locked mode for Chromebooks. So if I toggle that on, it means that if all my students are using a Chromebook, when they launch this quiz, it locks them out of any other tabs in the Chromebook, so they can't go searching the web for the answers. So that's a really handy option if you're worried that they're going to start Googling things that you've asked them on their quiz. So I can turn on locked mode for Chromebooks. I've got all this other stuff. Let's see, 100 points. I'm not even going to worry about the points because that's going to get pulled over when I import from the quiz anyway. I'll give that a due date as well. Maybe we'll do another one on Friday. It's going to be a busy day. The topic in this case is going to be, I don't know, we'll go with geography. And hit assign. So now because I've assigned it right away, if I jump over to that student account, in this case, there it is, popped right up. There's the spring quiz. And back on the stream, I can see here that a new item has been posted, and there's that spring quiz again. So as a student, I can click in here. I can go ahead and, of course, I'm not on a Chromebook right now, so it's not letting me get in there. So that's the downside of the locked on Chromebooks option, is that I can only do this now on a Chromebook. So I can't quite demo that unless I go back and fix that piece. But it would let a student fill that in, answer those questions, and then on the teacher side of things, if I just bring that back down, it means that the teacher will be able to go to the spring quiz, go to these assignments, and they have a nice import grades button over here. So if you're using the quiz option, you can import the grades that have been calculated on the form, and they'll all get filled in right here under the marks for those students before you then hit return, just to let them know that you've seen those marks and it's done. Back to here. There we go. So there's everything in terms of just creating and posting an assignment, but we'll look at how to grade assignments in the next video.